Well, what a way to end the game. And 4 interceptions for Baker Mayfield. The good news is that the decision on the quarterback position is clear. He's gone. It's over. Baker Mayfield is done in Cleveland. He's done. It's over. 4 interceptions. 4. It's over. There's no coming. It's over. Baker Mayfield today in a game where the Browns had to win to stay alive. And I know whatever people will say, oh no, technically you can still do this and whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. The Browns needed to win this game. 2 minutes left. Ball's in Baker Mayfield's hands. And what does he do? Interception. 4. 4 today. This is the story of Baker. This is the story of the Browns this year. He's consistently inconsistent. Consistently inconsistent. And I know the game's technically not over, but it is. It's over. 22-24, the Browns will lose to the Green Bay Packers. It's a miracle that the score was this close. I'll say that. Chubb all day had, basically whatever he wanted. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I really don't care, but Chubb had a great game. But it's sad that, you need a quarterback. It's just it's pathetic. I'm so sick and tired of this team. And you know what? People wonder why, somebody, I forget who it was saying about giving up and all that. It's like, this is why. I can't have faith in my starting quarterback. Exactly. Baker was awful today. And you know what? Here's the problem. People will hang on to the few good throws he had. He had one great throw to Donovan Peoples-Jones, that was dropped. That should have been a catch, but that was dropped. But it's so frustrating because it's like we thought this was it. We thought we had our guy. We built the team around the guy. We got the coach who was supposed to help the guy. And he's terrible. He's terrible. And yeah, Kevin Stefanski hasn't helped him that much. The offensive scheme is terrible. But you know what? This is just pathetic. Yeah, anybody who wants to jump on, the link is in the description. Brian, Philip, if you want to jump on. Yeah. The Browns ruined a Heisman Trophy winner and it took just 4 years. You know what it is? They beat him down so much that in his head now, he can't get out of his own head. We'll add Brian here. Hello, Brian.
Hey,
It's just,
oh,
it's embarrassing. Go ahead, Brian.
oh, yeah. It just took 4 years for them to finally beat down a Heisman Trophy winner. Congratulations to the Cleveland Browns organization.
It's done.
Five
Do you
fucking
see? Do you
picks.
see any way Baker stays?
He can't. They got rid of Ernest Biner after one fucking fumble in a playoff game.
Yeah. It's it's so frustrating because it's like I feel like we are close. I feel like if this offense got a couple more receiving weapons, but the quarterback position, it's just such a
Well,
liability right now.
and we saw it in the stats. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's Case Keenum, Nick Mullins, or Baker Mayfield. The results are always going to be pretty close to the fucking same.
The Browns have major offensive scheme problems. It's just And I don't know how it gets fixed because I don't see Kevin Stefanski changing his scheme.
He is incapable of changing his scheme, nor is he going to be. Is he ever going to willingly give up play calling, or, uh, uh, you know, come up with some other concept within the formation to actually throw people off? All of his tendencies are now solved. The defense knows exactly what's coming based on a down and distance. As we saw in this game, they can get away with knocking the defense with knocking the receivers around and creating turnovers.
And it's almost more impressive, knowing that. I mean, you're right. It's easy to see the way defenses are playing us, but it's almost more impressive, for what Chubb's doing. I mean, Chubb today had probably one of his best games. Um, I'd have
Well,
to
yeah, but
pull up the
they're
stats,
playing
but
a weak run defense, and they did not do what everybody else has done, which is stack 9 players in the fucking box on every single down.
yeah.
So it created openings for not only the running game, but when they would call a screen pass.
And that screen to start the game, I mean, it looked great from there, but it's once we missed that kick, it just, I hate to say everything went downhill from there, but I don't know. I really don't care
They
anymore.
were
I'm
a little
just
bit
so over
deflated
this.
after that, yeah. But
And I don't know if you saw.
it doesn't. Again, it doesn't matter who the fucking kicker is. I mean, changes A to an I. It doesn't fucking matter.
And I don't know if you saw John Johnson on Twitter, um, complaining about the play calling, saying run the football. It's like this stuff is
Well,
only.
but they ran the football on 3rd and 3, and that's how they fucking lost to the goddamn Raiders.
Yeah,
You can't run the ball every goddamn down.
and they don't have a quarterback
Unless
who
of
they can
course,
rely on.
now if they want to change the rules so that Joe Woos is the all-time defensive coordinator and you can just do whatever the hell you want to on offense, then fine, great. This is what the problem is with the practices when you have the ones versus the ones is you have Joe Woos calling the defensive scheme. Well, our offense just looks spectacular. I don't see what any problems are. Until you have to go up against real fucking defensive coordinators and real defensive players, and you get your fucking ass handed to you.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw on that touchdown Rodgers had one of many, but the one I forget when it was, but it was early in the game. It was clear. I mean, all of our DBs were in the end zone. Rodgers walked up to the line and audibled the routes. I mean, it's like no confusion. I mean, it was just so simple. It was like anybody could have been quarterback and known, hey, if I throw a quick slant here or a quick out, it's wide open. And at that point, just let your guy, try to score, which is what happened. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I hate this team. Every year we end up with
Oh,
it, I
and
swear.
kudos to Schwartz for hanging on to the fucking football today. He had a
Yeah.
nice run. He had the nice reverse, and then he also caught the touchdown pass. So,
And did you
amazingly enough, he
notice
actually caught the fucking ball.
how Higgins played a lot today? I thought that was
Well,
interesting.
I don't even know why Higgins is still on the team, to be honest. I really don't. Other than they need a warm body to fill the receiver room.
Yeah,
He burned his fucking bridges, and he's he's fucking useless, man. He's so fucking useless. He can't even be the fucking water boy at this point.
we
Everybody would
really
run
have
away from him.
nobody. I mean, Schwartz
Yep.
was wide open.
Now, between Higgins and if you gave me the choice between at the beginning when they were doing their final cuts between Hodge and Higgins, I would have kept Hodge.
Yeah.
Number one, you had a special teamer. Number two, you had a guy who would go out and fucking throw his nose into it into every block. And number three, he catches everything that's thrown his direction. He just doesn't get that many opportunities. But this year he would have.
Yeah. And it's almost a shame the Lions don't cut him because they don't use him either. But I mean, it's just like Brashard Perriman. He became available. We didn't do anything, and he's scoring game-winning touchdowns for the Bucks. It's like I don't know. I really do think though that this game, as bad as it sounds, I think it put the stamp on Baker. I think Andrew Berry, if he wasn't done before, I think he's done now.
Yeah. So
Tony, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, I didn't know. Yeah,
I was just slowly waiting my turn to let you guys talk, but
go ahead.
no, Baker. Yeah, you're right. You saw the kid cannot read a defense. I mean, yeah, the first interception was a bad face mask, should have been called. The underthrow to Landry was you could have seen. I could see the receiver, the defender streaking across the field on the TV. I don't understand how you missed that. But ultimately, I do believe that Kevin Stefanski would be the death of this team, whether you have Baker Mayfield at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, or Tom Brady at quarterback. Nick Chubb, 17 carries, 126 yards.
How many touchdowns did he have?
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, 17 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Dearness Johnson, 4 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. They're averaging fucking 7.5 and 14.5 yards a carry. And you have the ball, 1st and 10 with a minute left. Kicking issues aside, 1st and 10 with a minute left, 3 timeouts, and you put your quarterback who's thrown 3 touchdowns or 3 interceptions in the shotgun and have him run, then throw the ball 3 straight plays.
Yeah.
It's just horseshit coaching. And it's not going to go away. This is how Stefanski is going to be. And that's what this Cleveland team is. I know we rag on we've got no weapons, and that is a true point. But even, you got to rely on what you got.
Yeah.
And what you got that's working, you run it until it stops fucking working. Like,
and the worst part of it is, as bad as Baker played today, the 4 interceptions should have been 5. He had an easy pick that was dropped.
Yeah.
He did have 5.
And I mean, I think it's to the point, there's no going back now. I mean, there's no way to make this
work.
I
said he should have been shut down before the goddamn Cincinnati game. He should have had the surgery and been doing rehab this entire fucking time. But they keep running them out there because they're so close to being in the playoffs and being in the hunt and being a division leader. Yeah, and this is what you end up with.
Yeah.
You get fucked by COVID on a very winnable game against the Raiders. Thank God JC moved the game so that not only the guys got paid, but they actually, Nick Mullins did have an opportunity to win that game. They just took the fucking ball out of his hands. And like I showed Tony on Twitter, it's like Lucy with the fucking football.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're all fucking Charlie Brown. And we fall for it every goddamn time.
Now, let me ask you guys this. What do you think about, because Joe Bitonio played left tackle again today. I thought he did a pretty fine job, especially given what Wills has done. He's not been terrible, but he's not been worthy of the 10th pick or 9th pick, whatever we had. Do you think that there's any chance that the Browns would look into, or at least consider, keeping Bitonio at left tackle, moving Jed to right, and then opening up the left guard position, whether it be done or...
You got to wait till free agency opens up and see who else is available at right tackle, who plays right tackle.
Yeah. Because I see no way Conklin...
Joel still thinks of himself as a fucking guard. He doesn't think of himself as an offensive tackle.
Well, and
So
he
he's
was
played
paid
great,
as a guard
but
too.
yeah.
So
But I don't know what the future holds for any of the offensive linemen. I mean, they've got Teller and they've got Bitonio under contract, but beyond that, you don't know what's going to happen with Treader because of his injury history, and you don't know what's going to happen because you got a big question mark with Conklin
yeah. The most
and Hubbard.
frustrating. Yeah. Well, is Hubbard? Oh, that's right. He had the surgery, right? So he's out.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't
he
know.
won't.
I think,
He may be back for minicamp, but who knows?
and it's the same thing with Baker. I mean, he's going to have the surgery and no off season, and I think that's probably the most frustrating thing here is I don't think you can keep Baker as your second quarterback. His personality and the aura around him being the number one overall pick and everything like that. It's almost like Cam Newton kind of you don't really want him as your number two because it's just going to be a distraction. So if they go out and then they get somebody who's, starter worthy, I don't know how they keep him around. And maybe that's the best thing
No,
for him.
no. Baker is done in Cleveland.
Yeah, definitely.
Is he
Baker is
under
done in
contract
Cleveland.
next year?
I would 5th-year option, I think.
Oh,
And so, but his 5th-year option is like $19 million.
oh yeah, you won't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they already picked it up though.
right, but I'm saying if you get rid of him,
Yeah.
and is this Herr Rademacher intending
Uh
to shave his head?
no, it's supposed to be Kid Wilson, but he doesn't have his mic on. I don't know if it's the real
Oh.
him or one of the fake hims. I'll remove him. But I don't know, because remember last time it's been a while now, but one of the first
Yeah.
streams he kept trying to get on, but other people would list their name as Kid Wilson and it wasn't him. So I don't know if that is him or I don't know, but
It honestly feels like
Herr
in that game,
Rademacher, the link is over there in the description if you want to try and join on and shave your head.
it honestly feels
No
I don't
Kid
know though
Wilson,
because
not me. No TME. I don't know. It's me,
Not
but
me?
I'm not trying to join.
Oh.
So, who knows?
Well,
why do
I
I
don't
have
know.
a feeling that they wouldn't have won that game anyways?
Well, I picked him to lose 45-7. So that was my expectation to going into the game. Well, because you didn't know if Mayfield was going to play or if it was going to be Nick Mullins. They had all kinds of defensive people coming in and out. Nobody practiced. They were only going to get the walkthrough, and you're playing one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
So to lose 24-22,
Yeah, whatever.
congratulations, kids. You at least were very competitive with a damn good team.
I can't believe the score was that close, to be honest with you. Just
Only
based
because
on
they
how
were
the game was
they
going.
weren't adjusting to the run. It was like Joe Woods was calling the Packer fucking defense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Mike Pettin still the defensive
No,
coordinator
he got
for the Packers?
fired.
Did he get fired? Where's
Patton
he
is
at
in
now?
Chicago, I think.
Pettin's
Yeah, they
in
got rid of-
Chicago?
They got rid of Mike Patton.
Yeah,
Somebody
senior
else
defensive
now.
assistant for the Bears.
Oh, wow. I don't know. But this really messes up the Browns' off-season plans because, I mean, they need to get receivers, and I would, you don't want to be drafting quarterbacks. That's, we've been down that dark rabbit hole, but it's like, it almost seems like they're leaving no other option,
Well, if you trade for one, then you're giving up your draft capital, which means you can't get a top flight or at least a B or B plus receiver to go with the
Yeah.
guys that are C minuses right now.
Well, and the Browns are currently sitting at, I want to say like 15 or 14 draft order, maybe 14, 15, 16. It's one of those. But at that point, your options at quarterback, even though it's a bad quarterback draft, I mean, I like Desmond Ritter at Cincinnati, I do, but that's a risk, and if you go with somebody who's got the upside like a Malik Willis, that's a very risky thing. It's almost like a Lamar Jackson situation. It's like you don't really want to rebuild, you just want to reload. But I don't know if you can do that now, given where they're at, because they need the draft picks. They need to select receivers, because I mean, what free agent receiver is going to want to come here? I wouldn't.
Well, and they need to continue drafting cornerbacks too, especially
Yeah.
in this goddamn system.
Yeah.
Safeties and cornerbacks are very, very important. You don't necessarily need linebackers. You can pick up linebackers, but uh, to have 4-2 or 4-3 guys at cornerback, you got to draft them. They're not going to become free agents.
And
they're not going to come out of the CFL.
Yeah. And to this question, how do you address these issues if you're the Hazlitt? I don't know. That's the frustrating thing here, is because I don't know if there is a clear path, because the best case scenario was Baker is good enough, plays out the fifth year.
Can I describe it to Brett?
Sure.
Brett, it's like having your hands handcuffed around your balls and then being told you have to do 50 jumping jacks. That's what it's like.
I could say I've never heard that said before, but it's very, it's not going to be easy. I feel bad for Andrew Berry. I mean, when he came into the job, it was like, hey, this quarterback, we know he's good, but he needs, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And you get that. Now it's like, well,
no, Mayfield needs to go down with Sean Payton and fucking show people what he really can do in a decent offense with a real fucking head coach and a really good passing scheme.
Yeah.
I think it's all in his head, though. I think that's his biggest problem, reading the defenses. And I think the years of dysfunction have really beat that out of him, because if you go back and you watch, college Baker, rookie Baker, he doesn't hesitate, he's lets it rip, whatever you want to say. But it's like now he's just, every time he drops back, you worry,
And absolutely, if they don't do something with the quarterback position, they're always going to be sub 500.
Yeah. Oh, and
The 11-5
especially,
season was a fluke because nobody saw this kind of an offense, and people were getting open and they were catching the ball and they were catching people off guard. But now, like a broken Rubik's Cube, guess what? It's real easy to solve the Kevin Stefanski problem now. They know what's coming. They know when the passing downs are, and they know the route concepts. Every route concept. They don't change them. So down and distance, a 3rd and 9, they know what kind of routes are coming and they can squat on them and just make the play. Because you're going to get a 5-yard route and you're, hoping that the guy will break a tackle, whoever it is, Njoku, or Bryant or DBJ or whoever. Bradley. What the hell is Bradley's first name? I don't even fucking know.
Jamarcus Bradley.
Jamarcus?
Yeah.
Number 16.
Now let me ask you guys this, and this is for both of you, especially Tony, because you know a lot about this system and you're kind of in the same boat right now with Zimmer.
Yep.
How much longer does Kevin Stefanski have? If he doesn't change his system, which I think we all kind of agree that this is it, does he have 1 more year, 2 more years? How long are they going to give him?
it's tough because I mean, last year they make the playoffs. This year they might barely miss. I think they'll probably beat the Bengals.
No,
And
they're gonna go. They're gonna finish 7-10 at this point.
Who do we play next? We got the
Steelers
Steelers.
and then the
Steelers and
Bengals.
Bengals. Yeah.
And they've already lost 15-10 to the Steelers, playing the
Yeah.
exact same way that they just played.
They're gonna give them another year. I think they're gonna keep Baker. I think they almost have to. I just think that you can't be drafting quarterback that high. You need to, and there's nobody on the free agent market that you can have come
Well,
in.
and to trade somebody, well, then you're giving up. You're going to give up 2 to 3 years worth of different tiers of picks.
Yeah.
You
Unless
might give
you
up
can
a 1
somehow-
this year, 2 twos, or 2 and a 3, a couple of 3s, and then you hamstring yourself from being able to build where you need to build.
unless they're convinced that they're one legit piece away, and like a 2009 situation, and fucking number 12, the Antichrist, I want out of Green Bay, and they can convince Green Bay, okay, we'll give you Baker Mayfield and a first round draft pick, and we'll take Aaron Rodgers back. I mean,
Well,
that's
here's the problem with trading for a quarterback that I think is going to be a big problem. Let's just say they try to trade for like a Derek Carr type. You know what I mean? One of those kind of middle upper tier, kind of goes back and forth. What if if a quarterback doesn't want to come, it's not going to be good. I mean, everybody wants to play GM and try to put this guy here, that guy here, but it's like, people either want to be here or they don't. The reality is with Cleveland, it's like, does a quarterback really want to play in this system?
No, because your stats are going to be exactly like Nick Mullins. Your stats are going to be exactly like fucking Case Keenum.
Yeah.
Your stats will be better than what Baker did, throwing 5 goddamn interceptions. But beyond that, or 4 interceptions, excuse me.
Brett says, I agree with Moo when he says every week you can bring any quarterback to Cleveland, but as long as this offensive playbook is used, no one will thrive. I think the only way a quarterback can have a lot of success in this system is if. Go ahead.
I'm just looking at the stats. Higgins had the most catches, 5 for 58.
Really? Wow.
Casper the Friendly Ghost had 5 for 58. Meanwhile, Devontae Adams, 10 catches for 114 yards.
Yeah.
And 2
how
touchdowns.
many touchdowns? Yeah, exactly.
And Alan the Lounge Lazard had 2 catches for 45 yards, including a big touchdown.
Yep.
So. It's just so frustrating. But anyway, as I was saying, the only way I think a quarterback can be successful in this offense is if they have really good accuracy and they're very mobile. So meaning like the short mid-range throws and they can move around at a pretty decent level. That's the only success I see in this offense. Because, there's just no downfield passing. And when there is, your receivers are slow. The way this offense is built is to run the football, which is great. The Browns should be a run-first team, but you can't just run the football. You have to be at least, capable of passing. I think right now we're not, and I don't know how much is to blame of Stefanski, how much is to blame of Baker, receivers, whatever, but it doesn't matter. The reality is we just can't. Austin Hooper and David Njoku can't be your number one receivers,
Yeah. Well, and you can't keep running an injured player out there and expecting miracles.
Yeah.
There's no reason that Nick Mullins shouldn't have started with Mayfield as the backup because Mayfield got no reps. Nick Mullins got the 1 day of reps, and he didn't play that bad against the Raiders.
No, he didn't. And even though the
So
offense was really vanilla, it was more about just knowing where to throw and where not to throw. And I thought he did that fine.
I know the one thing they need to address is they need a fucking kicker that can be reliable.
Oh, yeah.
well, this was because of COVID.
Yeah, but
As
yeah,
much
I mean,
as
you
anything.
tell me Chase
But
McLaughlin
McLaughlin was
reliable.
probably done anyway. Yeah.
No.
So,
but it's like that missed extra point. I mean, that was crucial. And then
but they've proven that they can't draft a kicker and they can't pick one up off of free agency for very long. You get them. You're going to have to get one every single month of the season because that's about how long they last for consistency.
That second Baker interception you had at 3rd and 19 at the Packers 29-yard line. And at that point, you're like, well, it's going to take a miracle to get the fucking first down. Let's just run the ball and see what happens. Knowing that we've got to imagine if you had a reliable kicker, at least you would have had a good chance at getting the 3. But
that was the worst part of the end of that game. It's like, even if Baker did do what he hasn't done all year,
they would have needed to get 6. Because I'm not sure Nager or Negro or whatever the fuck his name is.
Be careful. This is YouTube.
Right. Would have. I'm not sure he would have hit that 3-point fucking field goal. It would have pushed it right, or it would have been blocked, or you know how that goes.
Well, what was Aikman saying about, in pregame, he made it from like the 35-yard line or something, and that was like his longest.
Well, in college, his longest was 36. But he hit one in pregame from 54. And it's like, and the funny thing is, until today, he had not seen game action in over a calendar year.
Wow.
Yeah. His last game action was the SMU's bowl game last year.
And how was he the best kicker that they could get? I know he was signed, but it's like there's no other vet free agent kickers. Like, is that what we're doing?
Oh, fucking his game. It's been longer than that because his bowl game last year got canceled.
It's so like
it's been 13 months since he's seen game action.
Well, basically, you're looking for the least shakiest person at the Crackheads Anonymous meeting, because they're all shaken, they're all beaten, they've all been cut, they've all missed big time field goals, extra points, kicking the center in the back of the head with the ball, kicking the ref in the balls,
I mean, people joke about it, but maybe your best chance at a kicker, I know it's a joke, but I mean, why not give Cream a chance? As long as he don't rip a Achilles or something. By the way, I haven't heard anything on him. Do we know what's the latest on Cream?
Cream Hunt?
He was still out with whatever injury. I think it was the ankle injury this time.
I think that's also a big reason why this year's been such a disaster offensively. Because, I mean, you go back to last year, especially like that Bengals game, the second game of the year.
Last night.
The second game of the year last year, Chubb was, Chubb was doing his thing. And then you bring Cream in, and he's full speed. And, they just couldn't stop him, And who knows if you didn't have Hunt.
That's the reason why you saw that big 30-yard gash by Johnson. But when did it happen? Deep into the drive, late in the game. So the defense was already kind of tired. Yeah. And they'd already had a heavy dose of Nick Chubb earlier in the drive. I think on 3 straight plays, he got like 23 yards or something, 33 yards.
I hate this team. I really do. I hate to say that, but it's like, it just seems like there's no hope. It really does.
Oh.
But I don't know. I don't know. I know there's people talking about Kirk Cousins coming to Cleveland. What do you think about that, Tony?
You can have him.
It wouldn't be any different, though.
No.
I mean, like I said,
Because if you look at Kirk Cousins' 2019 stats, were they all that great, Tony?
Baker Mayfield is Kirk Cousins with a little more swag in his step
and shorter.
and a little extra cockiness. I mean, it's the same exact fucking quarterback.
So let me ask you this. I know it's not.
He just doesn't have a torn labrum on his left shoulder.
Yeah.
He's healthier. That's about it.
But realistically, what do you guys think happens if the Browns replace Baker next year? Or not next year, but I mean heading into next year. Who do you think they go after? How do you think they do it? Free agency, trade? What do you think?
I'll tell you right now, I think this is how it's going to play out. They're going to cut Baker Mayfield. They'll trade him for a middle of the late round draft pick. And your starting quarterback will be number 5, Case Keenum. I can just see it night as day. Stefanski is trying to recreate the magical year where the Vikings made it to the NFC Championship game. And you know who was the quarterback that year? Case fucking Keenum. You're going to have Keenum as a bridge quarterback for 1 to 2 years while they'll draft a quarterback in the mid-round this year, and it'll be like a fucking Spencer Rattler, whatever the fuck his name is, or one of these middle of the pack college quarterbacks that really aren't any good. And it's going to be the vicious cycle that we've seen for the past fucking 22 years all over again.
Now, when the Jets traded Darnold, they got what'd they get? They got a second and I think like 2 fourths or something like that. If the Browns trade Baker, do you think they get something similar, or what do you think they get?
No, he's damaged goods. He's damaged goods. Mentally and physically, he is damaged goods. The best you're going to get is maybe a 5th rounder.
That is crazy.
And that may not even be for the current the 2022 draft. That might be a 2023 pick if you're lucky.
I think you could probably get a little more out of New Orleans if they're interested in Baker, because that QB situation down there is fucking ridiculous. But
well, and they have major cap issues, so they need a quarterback cheap. And it's almost like what the Panthers did with Darnold. They traded for him knowing they had the 5th year, so they basically said, all right, we'll give you a year, and obviously it didn't work out, but I could see the Saints doing a similar thing. You trade for Baker, pay him for the 5th year, or who knows, they might try to get the Browns to pay some of that and then maybe give more in draft capital, but I don't know. I could see something similar, but I just don't know that there's an option right now that the Browns could get this offseason that would turn things around. Like, I mean, if you draft a quarterback, you're going to have to bring them up to speed. You don't really want to do that. And if you trade for a guy, like you said, you're going to have to give up your future. You don't want to do that. It's like, to me, it almost seems like a lose-lose situation here.
And for all those that are clamoring for the Antichrist to come to Cleveland, he had 34 pass attempts. He averages 35 to 40. Stefanski is never going to call 40 fucking pass plays in a game unless they're absolutely getting drubbed.
And for those who don't know who he's talking about when he says the Antichrist, it's the one whose face he's covering right now on the screen. I don't know. It amazes me though how there's fans who will still after this game somehow say, well, if the Browns beat the Steelers next week and the Ravens and the Bengals lose, we still have a chance. It's like, are you watching the same games I am? This team has been done for a couple weeks now.
Basically since the Lions game.
Well, even going back to the OBJ situation, it's like once that happened, it seemed like there was a split in the locker room, and from there on, it's just been the snowball getting worse and worse.
Well, see, but that was the pissed off game when they came out and absolutely throttled
The Bengals,
Cincinnati.
yeah.
But that's not going to happen in 2 weeks.
No chance. And that's the problem. These players don't want to play. I mean, they know.
You're
Nick
right,
Chubb
Jason.
today.
Nick Mullins should have been the starting quarterback today. Yes, because he is healthier. He just ran the fucking offense, and he damn near beat the Raiders.
Yeah, and
So,
Mullins is
I
not
agree
bad.
with you.
He's not
No,
horrible.
no, we had the same fucking line as Case Keenum with 1,000 years of experience. So,
Well, and that's one of the things I said when Mullins was, when they announced that he was starting, is like he's, Keenum has got the experience, yes, whatever, been in the league a long time, did the Vikings, miracle, whatever.
well, more
Care
importantly,
anymore.
he's got more importantly is the experience within the system.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, Mullins, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Mullins has the better arm, as
Oh,
far as a
absolutely.
player right now. But
Oh, I would much rather go roll with Nick Mullins, and I would have given Nick Mullins the opportunity to beat the Raiders. I wouldn't have taken the ball out of his hands after I just asked him to go 7 of 8 on third down and 1 of 1 on 4th and 5 with the game and the season on the line, and he threw a touchdown. He created a touchdown.
yeah, and that's the key there. He created a touchdown. It wasn't like the system, throw the ball here. This is where your guy's going to be. He, I forget what happened, but I think it was a play action or something. Then he stepped back and rolled to the left.
Bryant got knocked down at the 1 yard line by his guy, who then comes up and charges after Nick Mullins, who's heading towards the line, rolling towards the line of scrimmage to his left. And he was going to hit DPJ, but DPJ got knocked out of bounds, so he can't catch the ball. So he had to pass on him and come back to Harrison Bryant, who just stood up, stepped backwards across the end line, and caught the touchdown pass.
Yeah. And, what?
And no other defenders had picked him up.
I'll address this because me and Kid Wilson been talking about Baker, Keenum, whatever quarterback situation for a long time. It's very clear at this point to me that Baker's done in Cleveland. I think it's clear. I see no way for this to turn around and magically all of a sudden, be what we hoped. I think that ship has been sailed for a long time. I think he was the answer. I do. I think he was, but I think the years and years of dysfunction and change and all that.
The Freddie year really screwed him up because he was allowed to formulate all of his bad habits, and then then he had Alex Van Pelt come in and try and mold him into his system with footwork and everything else. It's just a clusterfuck from beginning to end.
Yeah, and that's the most frustrating thing to me is sometimes you'll see Baker make extremely accurate throws, and then other times you have that, like the pick in the Raiders game with Landry, where he was wide open and he just sailed it way over his head for a pick. I mean, it was like every pick today.
Packers.
Well, I think
Raiders,
he had two,
Packers.
didn't he? Didn't he have one the Raiders game too?
He didn't play in the Raiders game. Unless you're talking about last year.
No, never mind. You're right. But he had a pick in the Raiders game that was similar, sailed it over his head. But it's the same thing all year, consistently inconsistent.
When's the last time we've seen a young quarterback go through as much coaching overturn as Baker Mayfield has in his, 3 years in the league now?
No, he's 4.
Yeah, but he's gone through Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens, and now Kevin Stefanski. When's the
And you
last
got to
time?
look at the coordinators: Todd Haley, Monken,
Monken, fucking
Van Pelt.
yeah,
Kitchens
6
was
different fucking
Kitchens for half a year, and
Yeah.
then Kitchens was the play caller in 2019 as the head coach.
Jason says Derek Carr has had 7 head coaches.
Yeah, and Derek Carr's no better than Baker Mayfield. I mean,
Wow.
you've never seen a young quarterback turn out to be good like that. Like, I can understand one coach, but when you're dabbling 3, 4, now he's got 6 different people telling him what to do in 4 different years. It fucks you mentally, man.
Well, they messed up not firing Hugh Jackson before Baker, his rookie year. They should have
He
just
went
came into the year.
0-16. There was no there's no reason he should have
But they
stayed.
kept Hugh around because he was a nice person, and they felt bad for him, but it was just a joke.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to say ownership made too many overtures on that one. Oh, we're going to rebuild the team. You're going to have your own players. It'll be great. We just had to go through this, take it down to the studs, and everything will be fine. No.
Yeah, and this is where I think Derek Carr is better than Baker, but again, it's not that Baker doesn't have the arm. It's in his head.
Being healthier is not necessarily being better.
No, well, yeah,
he's
right
got
now
28
it's not
fourth
fair,
quarter wins. Yeah, does Derek Carr have to play with the fucking Browns receivers or play in the Browns scheme? Jason?
Hey, I'll tell you what.
If Derek Carr was quarterbacking the fucking offense, guess what? He would be just as bad as Baker Mayfield and just as injured. Okay? Sorry to tell you that.
I will say
now
this, though,
now
for
you
the
can
Raiders,
go you can go watch them lose to the Chiefs and the Chargers in the last 2 games.
For the Raiders, though, they have gotten really lucky that Hunter Renfrow has really stepped up into the number 1 receiver role after what happened with Ruggs. Because if they didn't have him,
he's not the number 1 receiver.
Well, who is then? Deshaun Jackson?
No, that whoever the X receiver is.
Oh, Waller?
Jones.
You talking about
Zay
Waller?
Jones?
No, the actual receiver. They go X, Y, and Z.
It's got to be Zay Jones because that's their 3rd receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Waller's a tight end. I'm just saying he still catches the football.
Ruggs was the number 1, and then he got...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now he can be number 1 in the prison league.
Yeah. He'll be, what was that movie with Adam Sandler? I'm probably showing my age that I don't remember this.
Longest Yard, the remake.
Yep. Longest Yard. He'll go,
I still prefer the one with Burt Reynolds.
Not old enough for that one. Brett says, in my opinion, Baker's salvageable with a great coach motivator. High risk and cost to that. Yeah, but I think if you're a team like New Orleans who has really nothing to lose, go for it. Especially with the similarities to Breeze. Can you strike gold twice? But
I think
I don't know.
Could.
I think so too.
If Mayfield gets healthy, gets the surgery, gets healthy, and finds his way down to New Orleans, I think that they could do some real damage.
And another thing, though, with that whole Breeze situation, you got to remember the Chargers had Phillip Rivers already there. So
they drafted Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but didn't they had...
Well, they originally wanted...
they had Eli, and then
Eli
they traded
Manning,
Eli. Yeah.
Because they didn't want him to go to the Chargers where he would be forced to sit. So that's why they forced a trade to the Giants.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then he
It's gonna
won
be an
2 Super Bowls for
interesting
the Giants. So
it's gonna be an
Yeah.
interesting offseason though, that's for sure. No, so normally I just do a recorded video, but I have some issues with my editing software right now. That's why I'm doing this live. So, but if you're looking for post game halftime stuff, me and Brian and Tony all come from, it's called Moohead Radio. You can look it up on YouTube. You'll see it. He does a lot of live streams, post games and stuff. I want to start doing this more, but I got to figure out what's going
Baker
on
is
with my
way
editing.
no. Baker is much more of a student of the game than Johnny Manziel or Tim Tebow.
Johnny never
So
had Baker's arm. Never had Baker's
n-
arm.
no, but no, and he could run around, but he did have that win at all costs attitude.
You talking about Johnny or
Johnny,
yeah?
because he was the only guy I saw. He was one of the first guys that I saw go into Tuscaloosa and absolutely beat the shit out of Nick Saban's defense.
Yeah.
That's something you just don't see a whole
No,
hell of a
not at
lot.
all. Yeah.
And he
says
deserved his fucking Heisman that year.
Yeah, definitely go check out Moo's channel if you like this kind of stuff. But I appreciate you watching my stuff too. It's not as good, but it is what it is. Merry Christmas. I was rooting for y'all. No call at the end. I mean, here's the thing. The no calls and all that stuff, it didn't matter. It didn't matter because
Well, that's something you're never going to get at Lambeau Field deep in the fourth quarter against the Packers. Okay, so
being the
just
Cleveland
throw that
Browns,
out the
you're not going
window.
to get anything. Yeah. Baker can study all day long and still suck. I think I don't know. It's really hard to explain the whole Baker situation for people because I'm not saying you, Kid Wilson, but I'm just saying for people who are fans of other teams, and haven't really been paying attention to the Browns for a long time, you would think Baker's never been good because that's just how the media talks about him. He does have NFL talent. He does. But I mean, just the stuff that he's had to go through here and then his own problems. And,
Well,
I'm
and
not.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson had systems specifically built to their skill set. They've had the same offensive coordinator and head coach their entire time in the league.
Which is kind of surprising.
They've had consistency at all of their starting positions.
Yeah.
They went out and got Stephon Diggs to help Josh Allen, and his first year he had 125 catches. Gee.
Yeah. Well, Diggs hasn't done anything for me in fantasy this year. That was disappointing. I thought for sure in his second season with Buffalo, he would have maybe not as good, but near, but whatever. It is what I hate fantasy football. I hate fantasy football. Speaking of fantasy football, I forgot to adjust my lineups. I probably should do that before tomorrow, but I've learned not to draft Browns players.
And what is Kid Wilson anyway? Is he a legit Browns fan or is he just a fuckface?
No, he is. He's he's a Browns fan. I've been talking with him for a while. He's got his own channel. He talks about the Browns every once in a while, but yeah, he's just never been a Baker fan. But I don't know. And the whole Deshaun Watson thing, I don't know. I wasn't on Moo's show Friday.
Would you rather have the turnover machine that was and the injury prone mono catching a-hole from USC? Would you rather have that than Baker Mayfield for the last 4 years? I guarantee you they wouldn't have won as many goddamn games.
No, definitely not. But
so maybe stop fucking listening to Colin Cowturd. Get your head out of your ass and figure out that, hey, even with all these losses this year, Baker Mayfield in his 4 years, has still won more goddamn games than anybody in the last since '99. I take Josh Rosen over him.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
can't.
that's why Josh
That's-
Rosen isn't fucking even around anymore. You moron. He couldn't even make it in goddamn Arizona.
Go ahead, Tony.
Isn't Josh Rosen? I mean, he's the backup in Atlanta, but
He's the third string in Atlanta.
Oh God.
Well, he was the second string, or no. He was the third string, and then Felipe Franks got hurt. I want to say, because remember when the Browns played the Falcons in the preseason, it was Franks, and then Rosen came in.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think Franks got hurt, so technically he's the second string now, but not really. And I was you know what? I don't care to admit when I'm wrong. I thought Rosen was going to be good, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I knew from Rosen's personality that it was going to be hard for him to do anything in the NFL. Well, because he's one of those that came from a tennis background, so he's used to being a solitary player. Yes, they had some success in UCLA, but there's just some shit that came out when he was doing the interviewing and that kind of stuff at the combine, and it was like, I'll pass.
Yeah. Well, and the stuff about didn't he say something about I don't need football or whatever? I don't know.
No, that was Herbert.
Was it Herbert?
Yeah. Whatever his fucking name is.
This is the last thing I'll say. Okay.
Josh Rosen at the draft said, "Well, those 9 teams all made a mistake by passing me up." Well, then he went out and had a below average season.
Yeah. Kid Wilson, this will be the final thing I say. And this is my opinion of Baker, and I'm not going to change this. This is where I'm at. He has an NFL arm when it comes to strength and accuracy, but he has major problems when it comes to reading defenses, knowing when to let it rip, when not to. I think he still can be fixed to an extent. I don't know if he can become a great quarterback, but I think he can be a solid, good, mid to lower upper range starting quarterback in the right system. But as far as Cleveland,
can I take a 30-pound sledgehammer to your fucking left shoulder and see how well you fucking throw a football? Oh, and then I'll drive a railroad spike up your goddamn heel on your plant foot. So then we'll really critique the living shit out of your fucking throwing style. Okay?
And that's the biggest thing. He throws so much of his body into his throws. And it's not just because of the injury that we say this. It's always that's always been it. And I have never heard anybody say this. So, I mean, you might be right, you might be wrong. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. After the DUI, or not DUI, the running from the cops video, I never heard anybody say that he was smart. So, yeah. He said, Brett says, I think Baker would be good on a lot of other teams. I'm not really a Baker fanboy. I don't care who it is. If they can play, they can play. He's been in a messed up situation. It'll be difficult. Yeah, I think that's, it is what it is. But anyway, you guys got anything else to say before we wrap up here?
No,
not really. If that's the case, Horse, then put someone else in and don't let them lose it. Well, the coaching staff does lose the fucking games because we saw that against the goddamn Raiders on 3rd and 3. They took the ball right out of Nick Mullins' hands. He could have won that game by getting a 5-yard completion on a naked bootleg throw to Harrison Bryant.
And have the balls to throw it.
Fucking goddamn touchdown on 4th and 5.
Have the balls to throw it there in that situation. Everybody knew you were running it.
Oh, Nick Chubb. Yeah, they ran right into the fucking 98 side of the field. And
Crosby.
He was blowing up the offensive line the entire goddamn night. Yeah. So let's run right at that guy. It'll be successful.
Yeah.
And then they, they choked. They shit their pants. They choked. Whatever.
And get used to it. Get used to it because I don't know, But anyway, with
I
that
don't
being
have any
said,
idea, Jason Thomas. I don't have any idea. They did that, but that was what they decided to do. So,
yeah.
all right, man.
All right.
Otherwise,
Thanks
have a good Christmas night, and
Yep, you too.
we'll see you on Moohead tomorrow.
All righty. I'll see you later. Thanks
Okay.
everybody for watching, and I guess let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you later also. Have a good Christmas.